Hey everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. I'm back after a few weeks vacation, which I've never done before. I've never taken a solid 2 weeks off from stamping. We went to Ireland. It was amazing. And now I'm back with the fire in my belly for stamping and for mauve. Not really. But I do love it more now because I've worked with it and I have at least 7 projects to show you and a new way to look at mauve. When I first saw the in colors, the first thing I thought of with mauve was the old 80s, and we had this in our kitchen. I remember the mugs with the blue and the mauve and the wallpaper and the plates and the valances, everything with the geese, the blue and the mauve. And I think we had these mugs. Anyway, mauve has come a long way, and in fact, the title of the video, and then there's mauve. Those of you of a certain age will remember that reference. And then there's Maud. No one did it like B. Arthur. So I wanted to take mauve and modernize it just a little bit. And a lot of people, when they ordered all the colors, a lot of you left out the mauve. And it might have been because my enthusiasm was not there at the time, but I'm learning to like it. And part of it, I think if they would have called it modern mauve, I could have been more on board, honestly. Moody mauve just sounds negative somehow. So if you want to dip your toes into the mauve just a little bit, you can just go straight to designer paper and just add a little bit. This is the Fresh as a Daisy paper, which has a lot of mauve in it. And this one, 3 panels and just a tag, and it's just stamped with the mauve. Super easy peasy, and it's mauve. So we might remember the mauve more in the vintage tones. So a real popular combination is probably early espresso, mauve, vanilla, and crumb cake. So I made a card using the Stamped with Love set right here, and I did it very vintage. So you can go very vintage with the mauve. That's easy to do. It's like a dusty rose. I think the word mauve is what's bothering me. So, but it is like a soft fig, or like the dusty rose, kind of like the Rococo rose, but a little bit different. But this is very vintage. I've got the deckled edges, crumb cake. And by the way, all the projects I'm showing you, I will post the recipe for. So it'll have the picture and the measurements and the supplies I use. So this one is just very vintage and using this really fun stamp set. And I love this one that you can put on the back. I love that stamp. And as a side note, this is one that Debbie Mookie in Mayville, Wisconsin sent me using the same stamp set. Isn't that great? So she did it in the navy and the country designer paper. And it's really pretty. It's one of those bridge cards that folds flat, which is easy to do. So that was my first thing I did with it, is I went a little vintage. And you know, if you want to stay in the 80s, you can certainly do vanilla and the mauve and the boho blue, and then you're right back there in the 80s with the geese. But it still looks good together. Now let's make it a little bit more modern. If you take the mauve and white and black, then you've got something a little bit more modern. And you could even do gray and the mauve and the white. And it's looking a little bit different by adding the crisp white in there. It looks a little bit more modern. A lot of weddings today are going with this pretty theme of the mauve and the dark gray and the white. So I did this easy card right here. This is, anytime you use a nice graphic stamp like this Good Feelings in black, it's just nice big fonts and big sentiments. It's gonna feel more modern already. So even putting it with the mauve, I feel like it's a lot more modern. So this is just a stitched rectangle and another one behind it in black, offset. And then the designer paper, this is one of the tone-on-tones for the in colors. And I think there's hearts on the other side, and there's one with stripes and dots. But just a couple little flowers here. Now this one, I added the ray of light over top of it I Versamarked it and did clear powder, and then I tried to do a little sponging in there, and it kind of got away from me. It might look like a crime scene. It looks like somebody sneezed mauve on it, so I'm probably gonna let this one go. But I feel like there was something good there. If I would have just left it alone when I Versamarked it and left it clear with the ray over it, that was good enough. So I'm going back to this one to stay a little bit more modern. Now we can switch out the black and go navy. So watch what happens when you take navy and the white and the mauve, and it just becomes a little bit more modern. You can also put a green with it. That's parakeet, although I like the lemon lime twist a bit better for my accent color. But surprisingly, these looked really good together, and a white card always looks a little bit more updated. So the flowers are stamped in the Moody Mauve. The leaves are stamped in the lemon lime twist. And then I did navy as my accents using the Sending Smiles bundle. So I cut that out, the die out in the navy, stamped that in navy, and I just did a little bit of lemon lime twist ink splatter and some of the clear sequins. And I really like this one. And of course, these could be anything. If you don't want to do mauve at all, this is just a great layout and easy to do with any color flower, but I like it. I didn't think I'd like this ink color as well, but it's a very soft burgundy almost, maybe, or a very soft Mary Merlot or a fig, anything but mauve, but it's pretty. The next thing we can do with it is we can go pinks. So look at Bubble Bath with the Moody Mauve. Totally changes it. And if you add a little bit of the Mossy Meadow green and silver, it looks really good with a little bit of silver in there. And this is the Sentimental Park. And then I finally got these. I forgot to order them. And I finally got these in. These are fantastic. I am loving these. These are the Nested Essential dies. They're new. Look at all these banners and the rounded squares. And then these great shapes for sentiments, and they all layer, and they all have like a little dashed stitch on them. So I just did this size right here, stamped the Love You in the mauve, and then the Bubble Bath, and then added my little flowers on the Bubble Bath card. It's very summery looking. Now I ran out of time. I wanted to do a fall card because I think we're going to be able to do the fall cards because of these new in colors. I think it's going to work to do something like that. And I'll show you a card that my friend Janet Munden did. She took all of the new in colors and she put them together, stamped a little bit on the back, and then just added this sentiment in the white, and then she put it on a black card. And I think it looks fantastic. I also think that we could put these on here, use the fall leaf embossing folder, and then stamp your sentiment here in either the black or the gray. I probably would do black and make it a fall card. You could put leaves back here. I think it's going to be really great for fall, but I love what she did with it. This is a great project. So then I thought we could do something for the Christmas time, because look how good it looks with gold and silver. So look, you've got, here's the Mossy Meadow. I think that's going to be really pretty. It also looks really pretty with the silvers. Again, we're looking at it like possibly anniversary cards. Look, put a little white in there and it'll come together for you. Look, anniversary, weddings. It's really pretty, but also the holiday. This is what I ended up doing with the mauve for the holidays. I used the cottage wreaths, this one, and the dies that came with that to do a wreath in the Mossy Meadow and a little bit of silver. Then I did mauve cardstock and some mauve accents. These guys are great because they're the in colors, and so I've been using these mauve right here to add my little accents right here, a little bit here, stamp that greeting in the mossy meadow and the old trick of making it look like a little door. But I think it's pretty. And it goes really, really well. If you still have it, it goes great with Mary Merlot. Look at that. We retired that. Why? I don't know. I loved it. But it also goes great with the blackberry. Now, look at the blackberry and the silver together. Hello, holidays. It's going to be so great. It's going to look fantastic. So I will post all of the recipes and the directions for you. There's a link right below. If you expand the description, there's a link that sends you to my blog. And I'll have the link there for all of these recipes and measurements for you. Which one's my favorites? I think maybe this one. I don't know. I like a lot of them. So I hope this gives you a little bit more inspiration with mauve and you use it. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.